Hi, everybody. It's Katie Joe, and today we're going to talk about what's known as the Godhead or the trifecta or the three. So, this is Sovereign Soul, and Sovereign Soul is my podcast where we encourage everyone to be their own spiritual authority and to answer the spiritual questions about what this life is for and why we're here individually without having other people tell us what is true and what is not true, including me. So, let's talk about the Godhead. There's a Hermetic principle that says, as above, so below. And when we talk about this as above, so below, it means that the spiritual realm and the physical realm are mere images of each other and laws that are real and truth exists in both. And so, with that understanding that everything is in a specific order, and we know that there is specific order because we can look at the pattern of the universe and we can calculate where stars and planets and galaxies and universes are a million years ago to even the moment and the minute, and all the way forward, even to the moment and the minute. And we know that because some omnipotent sources out there keeping everything organized and keeping everything so in balance and order that there are no accidents. Now, is that a forever thing? Well, according to the Big Bang, it's not a forever thing. But for what we understand right now, there's a rhythm and cycle. There's a structure and order that we can count on and that we can trust. So when we ask ourselves, what is this? What is this? And if there is above, below, if the laws of the universe are also the laws of the physical realm, and if they support each other and they're in harmony together, then what would the Godhead be? Now, something I teach quite a bit in the shamanistic trainings that I teach, and then I've also presented in my newest book, Sovereign Soul, is that we see societies all over the world, and we see that from the beginning of time, all cultures and people were aware that there was something else out there, that there was something that was working with humanity. There was something beyond just the physical experience. And so there was all these rituals and religions and practices that erupted from this understanding. And all of these religions and rituals were different. However, when we come back to the center and we say, however, what were they all doing the same? They were all acknowledging that there was something beyond what the eyes can see. So in the physical realm, the creation is the balance of masculine and feminine that comes together. And through the masculine and feminine, we create a new generation. And it's most simply in layman's terms says male plus female having sex, or having the ingredients from both creates a new child. And then that new child grows, and when that new child grows, of course, then they repeat the cycle of masculine, feminine child, masculine, feminine child. So when we think of who are the three that propel creation and propel the evolvement of all humankind and the forward momentum of growth on the planet societally, we see that it's masculine, feminine, child. So when we discuss the Holy Ghost, meaning, or the Godhead, God, Holy Ghost, Son, or child, if the Hermetic law is as above, so below, then we would have the masculine, we would have the feminine, and then we would have the child. So the Holy Ghost would be considered the feminine. Now, this isn't even a Christian concept, okay? So it was taken by Christianity, and before it was taken with this idea of if we have a Godhead, or if we have the triple three, if the Godhead is three, then there must be male, male, male. And it was contorted because in society there was no way that let me use the right word, they could propose that a female could be on equal standing as two males. And so if there was this understanding that a female, meaning divine mother, was part of the Godhead, then it puts her on the pedestal and equal to God and then child, which would be known mostly as Jesus. Now, in matriarchal cultures and goddess cultures, that wasn't an issue. But if you've set up a society where women aren't property, women are owned, where they aren't allowed to make their own decisions, where a male or a man has an estate, and if he marries a woman, everything that she owns comes to him, all of this, if all of this is happening, and you say, well, a woman is on the Godhead, a woman is on that pedestal, the Holy Ghost is feminine, then what happens is then it undermines the system that you've put in place to control women and to control society. So we have to now say all of the attributes of the Holy Ghost are mostly feminine aspects. We say, what is, when we say this is what God is and this is what the Holy Ghost is, everything that we describe the Holy Ghost is are feminine attributes, but then it was distorted through many religious to say this is male. And so there's no way that for the creation of evolvement, it just doesn't work. If the Hermetic law or the Hermetic principle is true, if above represents and mirror images the physical, then how do we create new life with 1, 2, 3 males? Now, ironically, if it was reversed and it was 3 females, there's actually a possibility. Ironically, in the human world, in the physical realm, we actually see that females in different animals and things like that can create new life without a physical male partner. And even based on Christian ideas and Christian ideals and theology, it's said, no, a female can create without the semen of a physical male. That's the basis of the Jesus story. And instead of saying Mary was somebody who was so enlightened and accomplished spiritually that she could procreate with or without a male, instead they gave, oh no, it was the spiritual guy. This is how she did it with the spiritual guy. Maybe that's true and maybe it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But the point is that if the Godhead was female, 3 females, there would be more likely, it would be more likely that you did or we did create life and could create life from a woman or a female that could then create life with or without a male partner, because it's been shown throughout history and there are animals that are able to do that. But as far as I know, besides like sponges and things in the ocean, to my knowledge, and I don't know everything, that are kind of hermaphrodite, they're neither gender that can multiply and fractal out. The female has more ability to multiply and replenish the earth than the male. So based on all of this, it would be absurd to think that the Godhead, if it mirror images the way that the system is set up here, would be 3 males. Why would, and when we ask the question, our detective work is always who benefits? Who benefits? So if the Godhead is the system of masculine, feminine, creation, next generation, this is the way that we cycle through awareness and growth and all of that. And if we were to replace that and project out onto society that it's 3 males, who is the one that benefits? Well, it's always the men in leadership and always the men in power versus the female. That is that if the Godhead is all male, who's the one who gets pushed to the wayside, and also who's the one who benefits? And it's always the men in power. And because women, females, because women, and I'm going to say this WOMB, woman, those with wombs, because woman is not always able to physically take care of herself because of pregnancies. I myself have been on bed rest. I myself have had to have surgery to recover from pregnancies because of physical damage on my body. So a female, a large pregnant female, bed rest female, female nursing and caring for toddlers. And did you know nursing takes up to 8 hours a day of a newborn? So you have a female in this situation who's physically incapacitated through the act of sex, who isn't able to then defend herself in the oppression of male. Then if the males and they say, no, Godhead is all male, and they make all of the decisions, and this is how it is. Women are not the weaker sex, but because of the dynamics of birthing children, we are often physically unable to defend ourselves physically. And so we have learned through generations and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of generations that we get to navigate this society through softer, more subconscious ways. Now, that's kind of the system that gets pressed upon society. So we've then devalued women. We've said we actually love her so much, we don't talk about her when really she's sitting there in plain sight. But through society, they won't put her on an equal pedestal. So just a little food for thought.